The sun had barely climbed over the office building when Mara Ellison's phone buzzed with a message that would change everything. Her boss needed her, alone, on the rooftop terrace, immediately. Mara's stomach twisted as she rode the elevator up, her mind spinning through every possible reason her intimidating boss, Renata Voss, could want to see her before the workday even began. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the quiet moments that change a life forever, hit like, drop a comment, share this with someone who needs it, and subscribe to Silent Hope Stories, because this story is about to remind you why hope matters. Mara had worked under Renata for 8 months, and in that time she had learned exactly one thing for certain: Renata Voss did not do small talk, did not do warmth, and certainly did not do vulnerability. She was sharp-suited, sharp-tongued, and famous throughout the marketing firm for reducing grown men to silence with a single raised eyebrow. So when Mara stepped onto the sunlit terrace and found Renata sitting on a lounge chair in a simple sundress, a bottle of sunscreen resting on the small table beside her, she assumed she had misread the entire situation. "Close the door behind you," Renata said, not looking up. "And come rub this on my back." "I can't reach." Mara froze. The request felt impossible, absurd, entirely unlike the woman who barked orders about quarterly reports and never once asked for anything personal. But there was something in Renata's voice, a thread of exhaustion, maybe even fear, that Mara couldn't ignore. She stepped forward, picked up the bottle with trembling hands, and knelt beside the chair. That was when she saw it. As Renata shifted the strap of her dress aside, Mara's breath caught, not from awkwardness, but from what was revealed. A long, jagged scar ran from her boss's shoulder blade down toward her spine, pale and puckered, clearly the mark of something far more serious than an accident. Mara's hands hovered, unsure, and Renata, sensing her hesitation, finally turned her head. "That's not where I meant," Renata said softly, her voice stripped of its usual armor. She reached back and touched the scar herself, tracing it the way someone touches an old wound that still aches in the rain. "I meant lower. Away from this. I didn't want you to have to see it. But I suppose you already have." Mara sat back on her heels, stunned into silence. In 8 months, she had never seen this side of Renata, not the commanding executive who terrified junior associates, but a woman carrying something heavy, something she had clearly spent years hiding beneath tailored blazers and closed doors. Slowly, haltingly, Renata began to explain. 3 years earlier, she had been in a car accident that nearly ended her life. The surgery that saved her had also left her with nerve damage along her back, damage that made even simple tasks like applying sunscreen a humiliating ordeal she usually avoided by staying out of the sun entirely, wrapped in long sleeves even during summer heat waves. But today, her doctor had insisted she needed vitamin D, needed sunlight, needed to stop hiding from her own body. And she hadn't known who else to ask. Everyone else in the office either feared her too much or knew her too little. "I chose you," Renata admitted, her eyes finally meeting Mara's, "because you're the only person here who has never once looked at me like I was something to be afraid of." Mara felt something shift in her chest, a warmth she hadn't expected to feel for the woman who signed her paychecks and critiqued her every proposal. She picked the sunscreen back up, and this time her hands were steady. She worked gently, careful around the scar, saying nothing because nothing needed to be said. In that silence, something passed between them, not romance, not obligation, but the quiet, sacred trust of one human being allowing another to see them at their most exposed. Over the following weeks, the terrace became a ritual. Some mornings they talked about nothing: weather, traffic, bad coffee. Other mornings, Renata spoke about the accident, about the year she spent relearning how to walk, about the fear that people would see her scars and see only weakness. Mara began to understand that the woman she had once found cold was, in truth, someone who had built walls out of pain, brick by careful brick, because vulnerability had nearly killed her once already. And slowly, the office noticed a change too. Renata smiled more. She asked about her employees' lives, remembered birthdays, softened in meetings where she once would have cut people down. Mara realized that kindness, once given a foothold, has a way of spreading outward, touching lives far beyond the one it was first offered to. Months later, on a golden afternoon much like that first morning, Renata handed Mara a promotion letter along with the sunscreen bottle. "I don't need this as much anymore," she said, nodding to a small scar care cream she'd started using instead. "But I hope you'll still sit with me sometimes. Not because you have to. Because somewhere along the way, you became my friend." Before we reach the end of this story, If it touched even a small part of your heart, please type, "I believe in second chances," in the comments below. It means more than you know, and it helps this story reach someone who needs it today. Mara never forgot that morning on the rooftop, the moment a request that seemed strange became the beginning of a friendship neither of them had known they needed. Sometimes the people who seem the most guarded are simply waiting for one person brave enough to reach past the fear and see what's really there. If this story moved you, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Silent Hope Stories, and let kindness carry forward into someone else's life today.